Good evening, everybody, and welcome. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the South Haven City Council. It is Monday, July the 17th, 2023, and I will call this meeting to order. And now, in lieu of an invocation, if you just join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. And now, the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call.
George Sleeper, Wendy Onuki, Jeff Arnold,
Here.
Joe Reeser,
Here.
Steve Schlock,
Here.
Letitia Wilkins,
Here.
and Scott Smith.
Here.
I'll make a motion to excuse George and Wendy.
Second.
Motion is second to excuse George and Wendy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. They are excused. Thank you. All right. Now we're on to some good stuff. We are going to get an update from our Van Buren County Commissioner, Ms. Gail Patterson-Gladney. And good evening, Gail. What's going on over in the county?
Thank you. One of the highlights of the past few years have been the ARPA funds, that $14 million. And right off the top, we had taken $7 million for broadband. So I'm going to update you a little bit on what's been going on with the funds. And I did give to your city manager, or I think you received the information about the allocations of some of the funds already. We have about $1,700,000 left that's outside of broadband money that's left that we are looking at. We haven't opened up the applications yet for more submissions for the ARPA funds. We're looking at a couple things that have not passed before. One of them was the Red Arrow Ministries, which was a youth center that was discussed for Pawpaw. It would be on the grounds of the Red Arrow Ministries, but it would not be a religious organization. It'd be a nonprofit. And that did not pass. So, and one of the reasons it didn't pass was because it was centered just in one location. So the commissioner said, let's look around the whole county and see what's needed. We felt that the youth after COVID have a lot of needs, mental health. Some of the children have gotten in trouble with the law, etc. So we said, let's look and form a committee. So myself, Paul Shinkirio, and Kurt Doroff are on a committee. And other people, groups that are on the committee, besides ourselves, are the Red Arrow Ministries, Van Buren County ISD, Luke's Light, Youth Music and Arts Foundation. And one of the things about Luke's Light is that they give free music lessons to, right now they have about 25 students. And then they want to add arts to it too. They are using Red Arrow Ministries facilities right now, but they want to spread that music and arts around the county. So they're on the committee. YDC, Youth Corporation, Development Corporation, PAL, Senior Services of Van Buren County, South Haven Center for the Arts. We hope that they come aboard. They haven't attended any of the meetings yet, but we got a letter of support from Carrie Hagee. Also, we have a lot of letters of support from different departments, the Sheriff's Department, Mental Health Department. In fact, Deb Hess from Mental Health is on our committee. Rick Rio from Paw Paw Schools, Jay Allen from Covert Police and Fire, and many other organizations have seen that the youth in our county need help. So we're looking at trying to come up with a solution of how to help our youth, because that's our future. So we're in talks about that. Anyone else who's interested in giving information, just let us know. We have a lot of dedicated community members who want to act as mentors and also come alongside of the youth. So that's one of the programs we're looking at. Also, there is discussion about Parks and Rec coming on board, which is the county Parks and Rec Department, and that would help tie in youth activities with parents and adults and being out in the fresh air, which always does good for everybody, and possibly other Parks and Rec programs that are out there. Some of the ARPA funds could be seed money for other grants too. So I just want you to be aware of that. We're looking at that. Also, Legal Self-Help Center grant resolution has been signed by the county commissioners. There was a request to accept $10,650 in grants from the State Court Administrative Office for the Legal Self-Help Program. And it was authorized by the board chair to sign the documents. So what it is a self-help center. It's going to be at all the Van Buren County libraries. They will get training, the librarians will get training, and then there will be a desktop and printer at each of the locations so that the community can come and ask questions about how can they print off paperwork, how can they get help with legal matters that the courts aren't able to help with. So we'll keep you posted on that. We do, working at the library too, over 20 years, we do get a lot of questions. We cannot act as lawyers, as you know. So we are very careful on pointing the patrons to the self-help site that's on our website, but we don't know all that much. We point them there and then they are on their own, but hopefully we'll be able to help them more. The MAEAP Field Day is August 17th, and that was in the newspaper, if some of you have seen that. It's going to be 4 to 7 at Stoccherio Farms. Am I saying that correctly? Stoccherio. Oh, wow, good, thanks, in Bangor. And the Van Buren Conservation District is going to be at the farms for a fun and informative field day focused on fruit and vegetables. And they invite the public to come and tour and learn more about the farms. I don't know if you have that. Also, Van Buren County is a potential beneficiary of the state of Michigan broadband funding. And we hope that if everything goes through correctly, that we will have a reliable high-speed broadband service to over 6,300 residents and businesses in Van Buren County, and 3,476 of which currently lack access. And then also some county property is going to be used for Paw Paw Days 2023, and the board approved the request to use the county property for the 2023 Paw Paw Days event, July 21st to July 22nd. I think I have told you before, we had an interim county administrator, John Fall, who is back, and we have approved the contract, the Board of Commissioners, for John Fall, and and the board, we approved the board chair to sign the contract in our behalf. We are happy to have John back for even just for a while, hopefully maybe at least 2 years, because he can help with making sure that nothing gets missed. I believe there are some duties that the county has to do, and sometimes they have gone missing because we didn't have a consistent, experienced county administrator. So hopefully he will be able to help us. I went to the Safe Harbor open house, and I had mentioned that to your city manager, and hopefully you were able to see that or go and attend. I attended, and it's where the DHHS department in Hartford was. They took over part of the building. The idea for using the building and coming up with a Safe Harbor Children's Advocacy Center came from the county prosecutor, Susan Zeiderveen. And then a couple other things. The Van Buren Conservation District invites you and others to their annual meeting. That's going to be July 26th at 5:30, and it's at the Flywheelers Museum. And I will give this to Kate. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is constituent services on the road. The governor's staff and Representative Andrews' team will be at the Boys and Girls Club in Ben Harbor, July 27th, and you can, whoever comes will get a chance to connect with state agencies and meet representatives from DHHS and the UIA. Are there any questions? Yes, Joe.
This is my ignorance, but I'm still confused. Can you explain in layman's terms, what's the difference between broadband and high-speed internet?
Okay.
Or do you want to tell me later?
Well,
Is
you
that
know,
something to hold off?
we have an expert here tonight, which is Zach Morris. Where is he? Right here. Yeah.
So he's going to discuss it.
He's worked a lot with that.
Okay.
I know I couldn't explain it in layman's terms.
Okay.
So I just know connectivity, so many units up, 100 speed up and 100 down load. So that's all I know.
There you go.
Okay.
Economic
Thank
development coming soon. Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. Have
You're
a great
welcome.
night. All right, that takes us to the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. It's approved. Next, we have public comment for items that are on the agenda tonight. It's excluded public comment. We don't have a public hearing, so this is your chance. If you'd like to talk about any items that are on the agenda, come on up right now, state your name, state your address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes. Easy agenda. Going once, going twice, sold. All right, consent agenda, items A through D.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through D.
I'll second it.
Motion second. Questions, discussion? No. This is a roll call?
Reeser,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Schlock,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. And it passes. Next, new business. Mr. Morris is up with that question. We're going to get an update from our economic development on our various economic development projects. So Zach's here.
Well, Mayor, we're actually going to do the economic development update, so that Griffin will be giving that, and then we're going to do, sorry, Zach. And then we'll
After-
go into
that's
the.
true. I guess
yep, then
that's
we'll go
true.
to Market Van Buren.
Fair. Let's go. Go.
Good evening, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity. I will be quick because I do know Zach's got a good presentation for everyone this evening. But just want to spend a few minutes highlighting some ongoing economic development projects in the city of South Haven. For the last several years, the second meeting in July, we've brought this summary memo before you all to really just highlight, emphasize, and celebrate some of the progress we've been making over the last year. So the first one I want to hit on is Gull Lake Marine. As I expect everyone in this room knows, in 2022 it was announced that All Seasons Marina had been sold to Gull Lake Marine, which is a well-respected business in West Michigan. Staff worked to recruit Gull Lake Marine and worked through several challenges for several months leading up to the closing of that sale. We're incredibly excited to have them in town and have continued to see how their vision for the property closely aligns with the community's vision from the public input sessions of the property in 2019. The exciting update with Gull Lake Marine is that in March of this year, the Planning Commission approved site plans for significant renovations at both the 206 and 234 Black River Street. So we all have some updates to those properties to look forward to. If you all have not seen already, they've already started to make some progress, and it's really exciting for our Maritime District to see what they're going to be doing. Moving on with Gull Lake Marine. Over the last year to 18 months, Gull Lake Marine, the City of South Haven, Lake Michigan College, and some other partners have been working to start a marine tech training program in South Haven. One of the challenges we had to overcome recruiting Gull Lake Marine was a shortage of workforce, particularly trained marine technicians. And what we found was the state of Michigan is top 10 in boater registrations and bottom 10 in certifying marine techs compared to other states. So with Lake Michigan College's help, they were able to finalize an MOU with Macomb Community College to use their existing engines lab facility, so a program can begin to be offered in 2023. Our hopes is that in the upcoming years, we can continue to work with these partners to explore the development of a marine training facility here in South Haven. So instead of needing to send places to other cities, maybe people will want to send them to South Haven to train. Continuing on with training and resources, the South Haven Region Business Hub has continued to operate. This is a partnership with the City of South Haven, the South Haven Area Chamber of Commerce, Lake Michigan College, and Greater Kalamazoo Business Resources. This is a collaborative of volunteers that offers business workshops, roundtables, and coaching to help local small business and entrepreneurs start businesses and grow businesses. I do want to give a special shout out to Debbie Howe for her leadership on this. She's been donating significant time to get it off the ground, and I look forward to seeing where it comes from there. We're continuing to help facilitate a young professionals group in South Haven with the Chamber of Commerce. This group started almost 2 years ago now and are continuing to host monthly networking social hours as well as some other events. Presently, there are 63 individuals who are on our contact list, and just last week at our monthly social hour, we had over 20 people in attendance. And excited to share that this group is going to actually be hosting a regional networking event with those from Kalamazoo and the St. Joe, Benton Harbor areas in November. We're continuing to work to promote the M140 corridor district that Council established in late 2021. The goal with this is to catalyze the revitalization of that M140 corridor, one of the main entryways into our community. We established a second commercial rehabilitation district there, and grants via the state land bank as well as aggressive code enforcement are being used to incentivize blight elimination there. I think I'll leave it to Market Van Buren, but I'll shout them out as well. They were able to help one private property owner in that area receive a grant from the State Land Bank Authority, and that was able to help them tear down some old dilapidated, blighted buildings in that district. So if you haven't seen it recently, you can see noticeable progress already in this short period of time. The next one is Market Van Buren. We just completed our second full year of having an agreement with them for supplementary economic development services. They are here this evening and will go into a little bit more detail on some of their progress from the last year. City staff in partnership with Market Van Buren continues to regularly visit many of our major employers so we can build relationships, understand their needs, and ultimately help them address some of those from these visits. We have learned about many local businesses looking to expand. The few I want to highlight are presently underway. One is at W.R. Grace, which is investing over $30 million into both real and personal property improvements at their site, as well as Spencer Manufacturing, who we'll discuss a little bit more this evening, but really excited that they've broken ground on a 40,000 square foot expansion. So they're going to more but than double the available space they have and continue to build their high quality products in town. Speaking of those, we help these businesses who are looking to expand, these industrial businesses, with industrial facilities exemptions. This is something we discuss a little bit more later in the meeting. We had the Overton site redevelopment. As many of you know, the Habitat Company was not successful in obtaining the necessary tax credits for this project in both the April 2022 and October 2022 rounds. And earlier this year, the Habitat Company indicated their intent to terminate the project. So while this is going to delay progress, the city of South Haven remains confident that we will be able to develop missing middle on this housing, or missing middle housing on this site in the future. Coming to an end, we're getting to central business district developments. We have both the Consumers Credit Union project at 412, 414, and 416 Phoenix Street. This project has been delayed a little bit, but it has been already approved by the Planning Commission and are looking forward to them breaking ground soon. As well as the Hales site redevelopment was brought back to the Planning Commission for preliminary review in April, and we're incredibly excited about this transformative project and what it can mean for our downtown. I will save us going back into the redevelopment ready, but this is a certification that the city continues to actively work on maintaining. We were fortunate to get it in 2020, and every year we do have to do some maintenance work on that, and that makes different grants and technical assistance programs available to us. There are a few other more, I shouldn't even say minor, but there are a few other miscellaneous projects that are economic development adjacent that are discussed at the end of the report. But with that, I will stop and answer any questions you all may have.
Good presentation. That's good stuff. I just want to thank, Kate Griffin, Jim Hettinger back there, Zach, your team, for what we continue to do. It's encouraging to see the growth. Grace is in there too, sorry, you said Grace, but Revere also. I know they're finishing up and already talking about needing a little more room, which is fun to hear them already filling up their space. So I guess encouraged, how's that sound? I think our businesses, if you talk to them, they know us. They're kind of used to us coming out every year now. They're like, oh, here they come again, and they know we're in their businesses. We're out there listening to them, hearing what they want to, what do they need to succeed, and very positive, messages from all of them. They like the ability to find staff in a hurry. I don't care if we've got a challenge with electrical or whatever, but our ability to help these businesses function is noted. And so again, their success is a reflection of the business climate we've created.
On that, if I can, Mayor, I think a fun example of some of the small stuff that I don't think a lot of people see that we can do to help our businesses here locally is, so Spencer Manufacturing's and, a major local employer, a great local business that does a ton for the community. They reached out when they were getting ready to start their construction project about needing some additional space for a laydown yard for their construction equipment. And the city owns property immediately across the street there in the business park, and that's something that, Kate, as the city manager, is able to, approve their use of temporarily. And it's that kind of stuff that, you can't really put a value on, and it's tough to quantify, but those are the little things that we try to do to support the businesses we have here in town.
Yeah, I will say. And they love our reliable electric, I will say. I hear that over and over again, the fact that they're not having hours, days, some places in this country, you're a lot of stuff going on with the environment, whatnot, where they're going a long time without power. So we're very fortunate where we live. Very good. Any other questions, comments?
Just one comment, one question. Jim Hettinger told me recently that because of you, Griffin, and our city, some of the good things you're doing with our current businesses, they become cheerleaders for us to attract new businesses. So it's really important, so I want to thank you. Because if business calls here and says, I'm thinking about coming to South Haven, they will call local businesses and see how well they're being taken care of by the city. So they become our best cheerleaders, and it's really important. The second thing, and this is my ignorance, I heard a mayoral candidate talk about how in the past we had a lot of grants. And this is a question, not a leading comment or anything. Do we have the expertise on staff? Do we have to hire someone? I know my wife teaches at Western, and it takes really good professors, expertise in writing grants, and they're highly regarded at the university. Do we have those kind of people on staff? Can we get them? Is there anything that we can do different that council can support to get that kind of expertise, to get grants, to give money to our city for us to grow?
There are so many different types of grants. You'd have to have a variety of people on your staff if that's what you're looking to do. Usually what we have done is we've worked with different organizations, i.e. usually in engineering to get us either the CMAQ funding for sidewalks and road construction. We've worked with our engineering group to get the $1.8 million of grant that we're getting for the wastewater plant. So we've worked with a lot of different agencies. As for CBD grants or grants that are for community development, those are varied as well, and we've worked with other organizations to do that. So if we're looking at for one person, they'd have to know a lot about many different areas. Really what you are looking for is you could have maybe a project manager, because that's something that you can incur those costs and you can either charge them off as part of the grant, or you can try to do that in-house. We had that with a former staff member, but right now we've been keeping everything in-house for project management so far.
Okay.
I can also add that, I've been fortunate to work for a number of different local governments, and the city of South Haven is quite good at both being aggressive at going after grants and actually receiving them. So I think we're quite fortunate to have the team we do in terms of the foresight to go after some of those things, both smaller technical assistance grants and larger infrastructure type grants.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like we've done especially well in the infrastructure grants. Part of it's our ability to plan ahead, for streets, for instance. So we'll talk about that later. If there's nothing else, we'll cruise on. Thank you. Appreciate it. All good stuff. All right. Now, sorry, Zach. City Council is going to be asked to consider the approval of a proposed one-year agreement with Market Van Buren for supplementary economic services in the amount of $12,147.23 for fiscal year 2023 and 2024.
Make a motion to approve a proposed one-year agreement with Market Van Buren for supplemental economic development services in the amount of $12,147.23 for the fiscal year of 2023-24.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, so I guess we could vote it up and then talk, or we could, you could talk first, either one. Why don't you come up and introduce yourselves, tell us all the good stuff you're doing, and we'll do that.
Well, good evening, and thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. I'd like to also introduce our Economic Development Manager, Katie Moltoff. She's a little over 90 days with us, but her job is to manage our business retention and expansion program. So that is calling on the businesses proactively and not waiting for the phone to ring. So that's part of it. I'd also be remiss not to comment on the mayor. I understand you're not running for re-election, but I wanted to say the last 6 years, which overlaps the last 7 years I've been in the job almost. We've worked together quite a bit. I've appreciated your leadership in this role and your focus on business development. So I wanted to say thank you for that for the last 6 years. It's been a real help to my team for that.
Absolutely.
We got a presentation up. We can just get it going. All right. So I like to level set in these meetings because I live in this world every day, but a lot of people are like, what in the world's economic development? So I talk about it in three parts. You have business, community, and talent. So in the business side, we're going to talk about primary businesses in just a little bit. But your primary businesses create jobs, they pay taxes into the community, services to secondary business, they procure services with secondary businesses. And then you have the talent. The talent works in the business, keeps it running. They're the people who actually produce the products, provide the services. And then the community is what attracts the talent in, especially these days. We know young talent wants a great community to live in, but also provide the amenities. We're talking about a reliable electric service that you have here. That's part of community. Having safe streets. We have the chief here in the audience. All those kind of things make up the community element that business and talent want to live in. They live in a symbiotic state, and economic developers kind of operate right in the middle there. Our job is to make sure that we keep those three parts in balance, and we're always looking at it, keeping an eye on that piece, and looking at resources we might need to bring in. So we're going to talk about primary versus secondary employers, and Katie, you're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so primary versus secondary, I know that Zach highlighted that a little bit just a second ago, but So Spencer's Manufacturing, they produce the services and goods, and they're sold outside the community, but the capital comes back and paid out in the form of wages, taxes, and services. Again, we are currently working with them on their expansion, so we are very excited. And just to piggyback again off Zach, being new to the industry and economic development, what you guys are doing here is a very good thing, and I just appreciate that. Just from a newbie in this industry, you guys have such a good thing going, and it's very envious, and we appreciate it as an economic development organization. So sorry about that little piece. But secondary employers, so again, this is just as equally important. Our main focus is the primary, but secondary employers, both highly important. They are what the community wants and desires and needs. Like the downtowns, Three Blondes Brewing, they turn over capital within the community, and it's an attraction piece for the community. Okay, and so then how does it work? So this is our gears slide, and essentially we are in the middle, helping everything move and rotate, stay connected, keeping the wheels together in motion. We have our partners and resources on the left, which we are very proud of. Our toolbox is rather heavy. And then the businesses and communities on the right side.
That's it. I mean, you got your resource, the alphabet soup, the USDA, the MEDC, all those acronyms out there that you got to learn when you're new in the job.
Yep.
And then on the right side is the people who receive those services. But what we also do is we take what we hear from you at the local level and from the businesses like Revere and American Twisting, all these other places, and we send it back out to all those folks to tell them what kind of programs they need to be creating for us. So that's also part of it. So recently we had, back in December, I said recently, time flies, but the CEO of MEDC came to Van Buren and Cass counties, one of the communities we wanted to highlight while he was here, and we had a very short time with him. But we wanted to get him up to South Haven to take a look at some of the projects that Griffin and Kate and the team have been working on, and also take a look at Revere and Spencer Manufacturing, because they were two businesses that are poised to grow. And this is part of it. Right now, Spencer is going to be receiving an incentive that is going to help them with their expansion, and part of what we're doing is working with Quentin and his team and getting that maximum amount of that incentive for this expansion. So we can talk about that more after it's settled out, but this is just part of running part of the business here. So the Market Van Buren Advantage, why would you want to spend money with us? A few things that we're able to do is representation at the state and local levels and regional. Our job is to represent you and our stakeholders here in the community. So we might be talking to the MEDC, we might be talking to Michigan Department of Agriculture, talk about some of the things going on with our food processors, but we're always advocating on our behalf. That's part of what we do. You're not just hiring a person, you're hiring a whole team. So you could have one person working on your behalf, but then you're not getting access to a grant writer. And we do have a grant writer on staff that helps grant manage those. So we have that. We have someone doing BR&E proactively. My job is to be working to make sure that the organization's running on track, but also advocating at a higher level for our community for resources. We also are preparing sites. That's something we also do. We proactively call on our primary businesses, and we advocate for our community. So why the public-private partnership model, which is what we are as Market Van Buren. We're a 501c3 public-private, meaning you invest in, the private sector invests in. We have close to 50 investors in Market Van Buren. Our first was the county. The county, Van Buren County was our first, and they're still our main investor. But our model is to be diversified, meaning that one person's paying for everything. Everybody pays a little bit in. And so this is the benefit of it. It's more efficient. It's better use of taxpayer dollars in the long run.
All right, and organizational timeline. So you can see that we started in 2014 with just simply starting off with managing the Van Buren County Revolving Loan Fund. And exciting news coming up in this fall. We're going to be rebranding because of being Cass County's economic development organization as well. So that is in the works, and yeah, just exciting to see how we've grown over the years and where we're continuing to grow and go. All right, and then some of just the fun numbers to look at from 2022 until present: 214 jobs created, 19.1 million annual wage impact, 26 million capital investment, 45.1 million overall economic development.
Quick math, our economic impact's made up of wages and the project investment. We only do it for 1 year of wages, and this kind of gives you a snapshot of how we're doing. So talking about grants, we talked about that earlier. So we look at the Going Pro Talent Fund, and this is a program that's competitive, that our companies would need help writing for, and one of the, we might call the secret sauce as we partner with Michigan Works on this. And what we're able to do is make sure that we have a really good application that goes into the state. So generally, it's competitive statewide. 83 counties are competing for this fund. And I think last year it was $50 million. Years past was 30. I think this year it's in the budget 80. So it is competitive, but this money particularly helps your local companies retrain or train and upskill its workforce. So it's a competitive fund, but we did help 5 companies last year get $118,000. And in 2023, $103,000. You can see the companies up there: Revere, East Jordan Plastics, Compton, Spencer Manufacturing, and Lovejoy all received money for training. In 2022-2023, we've supported the pursuit of $27.7 million of money coming back here. I'm a little biased, but I want the money in our community, not somewhere else. So I think money coming back is important to our place, so we are very competitive in this space. St. Julian Winery, I don't know if you like their wine, but they're going to get a new part that helps them separate out the wine skins and from the juice. $25,000 grant we're helping them apply for. And now this is the one the commissioner alluded to, and I'll answer the question on high-speed internet for you. But it's the Robin Grant. So the Robin Grant that came out was statewide, competitive. We knew we had to come up with a really strong application to serve all of Van Buren County, parts of Cass, and 92%, is that the number? 92% of the unserved parcels now are going to be served in Van Buren County, and quite a few in the greater South Haven area also. One of the things we've also been able to do in the greater South Haven area is when Comcast said, no, we still serve those places. If you remember before, you'd hear horror stories of people saying, yeah, but they'd charge us $15,000 to hook up. We got them committed to a $100 hookup fee. If you want to keep it, not give it to Midwest Energy Communications, then you have to pay only $100 for hookup. And they've committed to it. So we're going to hold their feet to the fire on that one, but it's an important part to creating a place for your workforce supporting the city. But that particular one, we raised over $5 million of money between the county and the local units of government towards the matching fund for this. And we've been on the short list, and we've actually been awarded. Now we're on the period of time where you have to go through public comment. That's an extremely impactful one for the greater area. And we have several others that we've worked with, totaling $1.7 million. And we don't have it on here, but the RAP grant, Revitalization and Placemaking, Market Van Buren applied for $2.7 million. We'll hear later this summer whether or not we got it. But those are some important things that we do in partnering with local municipalities.
All right, so some of the activities and priorities, again, as an economic development manager, my main focus is the BRNE, the business retention expansion. Of course, the attraction efforts, making community people want to come to your city. Industrial site readiness, I work very closely with the MEDC on site readiness submissions. I will get projects weekly from them, and I will submit in the industrial parks, which that actually,
yeah,
that's something that I have to talk with you about too. Reminds me.
Car ride back.
Yes. So yeah, we will submit those from the state through MEDC to attract corporations to come to South Haven in your industrial park. High-speed internet connectivity, of course, huge.
Did not answer the question. Let me answer that real quick. So the federal definition was 25 by 3, but it's going up to 100 by 20. So
yes, the
it's going to be
high-
going
That to me
back
in
up.
English.
Yep, that's it. That's the answer to that question. So broadband, high-speed, broadband is, can you get a lot of information through the line? Yes, that makes it high-speed, but the actual speed itself, 25 by 3, but it's going up to 100 by 20 or 25, up-down speed. What does that mean? 100 megabytes. 100 megabytes that you can download off the internet, 25 upload. So you think about your Zoom camera, you're sending images out and
Bigger,
receiving them back.
bigger documents, faster speed.
So, so here's my question. To get to that higher speed,
Yeah.
do we have to run all brand-new high-speed lines in the city? Or is it the lines we already have that we have to pay for them to put more juice through it?
Depends what technology you're playing with at the end of the
I
day.
don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Infrastructure in place.
And-
My background is a little bit at telecom, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, it depends on what the infrastructure is in place that has the capabilities of, let's say, fiber that they're placing, or, I don't.
Yeah, well, fiber's unlimited, and that's what Midwest Energy is running throughout for their project. Comcast has a coaxial, but the thing is, they actually have been able to, with new technology, push the information faster at better speed. So they can actually get it up pretty fast now with coaxial, with just adding some new equipment online.
So the bottom line question is, what we have or where we're going, will it meet the needs of these businesses that want to expand here? That's all that counts.
I think in the next 10 to 20 years, yes. In 50 years, when, you know, we have flying cars and everything, who knows? But I would say in the next 10 to 15 years, I think you got sufficient until you start building out new fiber. But I think for right now, you have enough, if you can get the new equipment added on.
And we're not hearing a lot of complaints about our speed in town from our manufacturers. I mean, we ask, we're like, how's internet? I mean, that's not been a complaint.
We've
You got
been
some Bloomingdale, too.
Yeah, and we've been pretty fortunate in the city of South Haven, in the city proper,
Right.
relative to the rest of the county. That was even something I know that the county found in their study is, you know, here and there were a few parcels, particularly right on the outskirts of the city, that could use some additional support, but relative to the rest of the county, we were already significantly built out.
Yeah,
The city was considered a well-served community at that time, so
Yeah.
it's changing to 100 to 25, 100 download to 25 upload. I'm not sure if that would, be found, but when they did the initial study with DCS, the city was considered a served community.
That was the standard when we did the study, was 100 by 25. The new standard was our standard if it was served. So right now, you're being served, and I would say, if anything, we advocate that Comcast, I think that's who your primary upgrade your equipment. I think that's the thing you do. You don't necessarily need to, run new lines, but just upgrade some of your equipment that's pushing the signal down the line, and that should get you there. I think one guy I was meeting with said you can get symmetrical speeds of close to a gig with that. So, but that takes equipment upgrades.
Absolutely.
So we talked about almost 50 investors. Here's our list of all the investors from the public and private sector. So you'll see both public and private sector organizations on this list. So it's diversified, and we have a lot of different folks on that list there. And how did we come up with this number of $12,147.23? It's not random, actually. It's based off from a formula that the municipalities came together and we agreed on a formula. And the formula was this: it's based off taxable value and your population. And so we have a multiplier on there. And what I did was I did a lot of calling around the state and the country to figure out how people did these different models. And one point we said, okay, we'll do it taxable. Some of the largest taxable value communities said, hey, why are we paying all of it? And then some of the high population people said, hey, we're paying all of it. So what I did was I did a composite rate, which is add the two numbers together, divide it by 2, and it kind of balances it out so that you don't have as high peaks and low valleys as you might have. So it comes to a total, if all Van Buren County municipalities paid in $78,000. Obviously, South Haven's the big dog, so you guys get that prize position. But this is not a random number. This is very much a calculated number based off from formula. And you don't just get one person, you get the whole team here working for us, plus any of our support organizations and sister organizations with us.
Very good. Any questions?
Sir?
So we get back to a big issue in this town. We have employers that want to grow and that are growing, but some of the employers will say, well, we don't have any place for our employees to live. Employees say, we'd like to live here, but there's not enough housing. So how do you, as an economic development manager company, how do you see our housing in South Haven? Because we had a workshop recently, and for the township and the city, we are 1,000 houses short of what we need. So where do you see this, and what is it doing to our economic development not to have enough year-round housing for employees?
Well, Councilman, that's an issue I hear across all of Van Buren County and Cass. As a matter of fact, my colleagues across the state talk about this issue of the shortage. We just recently, at the county approved some matching funds actually to do a countywide housing study because it's that big of an issue right now. So I would say it's not a magic formula of, well, we do this, that fixes it. It's multifaceted, obviously. You need a spectrum of housing from, multifamily to high-end single-family units for people who are further in their career and everything in between. But I would say if you start partnering and looking outside the city a little bit and you say, okay, you got Covert Township, you've got Geneva, you've got South Haven Township, they all got a lot of land. And you got agreements for water and sewer, you got electrical agreements with them all. It's probably best to start taking a look at some of those areas where you can acquire land a little bit cheaper and bring that price point down. The other thing, I know some of you have been to some of our workshops, and we brought the state experts in, but you use things such as TIF from Brownfield and Land Bank to also bring the top-end costs down. So there's a lot of tools I think we can use to get that price point down so people can afford it, but I think it's multifaceted. You have to look at your outer ring a little bit more to look at that workforce housing piece.
I would agree. That's what we're doing. So I'll just say also, I do appreciate the fact that you do work closely with us. We can pick up the phone. I know you're in the businesses with us. You're also trying to market what we've got. I know we don't have a big mega site, but.
Right. You have some stuff to
Darn
work
that.
with, though. I mean, you don't have
Exactly.
zero product, which some communities have zero product. So you have some product, and we'll continue to work with city staff to expand that over time.
We got some work to do. We got some sites I'd like to see maybe cleaned up and brought on the market.
Right.
I got a dream. I'm going to keep dreaming because I drive by a couple of them every day on my way to work. So, all right, if we have no other questions, we've got a motion and a second to approve the contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is approved. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
night. Safe travels. All right, couple special event applications. I will take these as a group. How's that sound? City Council is going to be asked to consider the approval of the following special event applications. First, we have special event application 2023-30, National Night Out to be held on August the 1st, 2023 from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Huron Street Pavilion. Next, special event application 2023-31, Around the Town Scavenger Hunt to be held on September the 22nd, 2023 from 5 until 8 p.m. at various locations throughout the city. And then finally, we have special event application 2023-32, which is the Van Buren County Democratic Party Picnic to be held on August the 12th, 2023 from 2 until 4 p.m. Setup begins at 1 p.m. at the Hartman Park.
I make a motion to approve special event application 2023-30, special event application 2023-31, special event application 2023-32, as they were read by the mayor.
Second.
We've got a motion, we've got a second, and okay, I've got Pam has been waiting just to tell us all about her one. So, you want to add anything, and we'll let Pam take over?
Sure. Well, Safe Kids of Greater South Haven, Pam Ford, has put together, at least for the first application, a National Night Out, which is a night where they try to get the community and law enforcement together, and it's an annual community building campaign. And we would be one of, I think, 98 communities that would be doing the same community building exercise on that same night. So this would be, I beg your pardon, August 1st at the Huron Street Pavilion, just over here. Do you want me to stop there, or do you want me to keep going on about
Go,
the
and
other
then
two?
whoever,
Okay.
just go through, and then we'll get people up.
The second application is around the town scavenger hunt. That's from the South Haven Public Schools, putting that together. I believe it starts at Elkenberg Park, and then from there, they would go to various areas in the community, different parks, different areas, scavenging, looking for clues. So this is a pretty novel idea. This will be held on September 22nd, and the stations will be Elkenberg Park, Kids Corner, South Beach, and Dykeman Park, as well as back to Lincoln School on Elkenberg Street. The third event will be the Van Buren County Democratic Party Picnic, which will be held on August 12th at Hartman Park. All three of these events are new for us, and it'd be kind of nice to see these all go forward.
Sounds good, thank you. want to share? Tell us about it. Come on. What are we doing? What are we coming out for?
Hi, guys. Pam Ford, Safe Kids Greater South Haven. Thank you for entertaining me again. National Night Out is the opportunity for communities to meet their law enforcement and first responders, and I think it's a great idea for us to come together and just have an evening where people can meet each other and shake hands and smile and laugh, and maybe we'll get a dunk tank and get the mayor in it. Oh, wait, that's not on the application. I can't do that this year.
Shucks.
Darn. So, I have attended a National Night Out in Holland, and it was exceptionally well attended. And I reached out to a person on their planning committee, and she had some numbers for me, and I'm expecting about 150 people. So we'll see if this is the beginning of something awesome.
Sounds great.
Any questions can be emailed to me. I'm sure you all have my contact
There you go.
information.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Pam.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Appreciate it. Thanks for waiting around to tell us.
Rick's here from the Van Buren
Oh,
Party
would you like to
Picnic.
share what you're doing? Or, I mean, you don't have to if you want to tell us what you're doing or, you know.
So, my name is Rick Catherman. I'm the chair of the Van Buren County Democratic Party. We are looking for a space to hold our first annual picnic, I think, since pre-pandemic. We're going to participate in the Blueberry Festival Parade, and we're looking for a space here. Folks that are outside the South Haven area are not always familiar with how difficult it can be to find a space here in South Haven. And so I walk every morning and looking for spaces for our event. We don't expect a real large event since this is the first one we've had in quite a while. The one thing that I will add is that there is, I know on the application, I didn't have it at the time, but a certificate of liability insurance. I talked to Michelle at DPW, and she was terrific, by the way. So I can she said I could probably leave that with her at a later time, so I was able to secure that. So that's all I have extra. Any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer.
Got nothing.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming. Appreciate it. If there's no other questions, we've got a motion and a second to approve special events 2023-30, 31, and 32. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. They are all approved. Thanks again. And now we're going to be asked to schedule a public hearing at our regular scheduled meeting on August the 7th, 2023, to consider an industrial facilities tax exemption application from Spencer Manufacturing for its property at 165 Veterans Boulevard.
Make a motion to schedule a public hearing at our next meeting, August 7th, 2023, to consider an IFT exemption application for Spencer Manufacturing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All right. Tell us what we're having a public hearing about.
Sure, absolutely. I'm excited to bring this one before you all, as we've alluded to a few times already in this meeting. In the last few weeks, Spencer Manufacturing, a local industrial business, started a significant expansion project that has been in the works for quite some time. One of the tools that the city of South Haven has available to support local manufacturing businesses looking to expand is called the Industrial Facilities Tax Exemption. We've brought these applications to you all several times before with others, the most recently being Revere. So for the real property improvements associated with the just short of 40,000 square feet of additional building space they are constructing, we are able to offer them a recommendation for an abatement that ultimately gets submitted to the State Tax Commission. So what is expected from this is that the project will create 16 new jobs within the next 2 years, as well as retain the existing 52 jobs at the facility. So what you have before you all this evening is the materials we'll bring back next month for a vote. What these materials would do is, one, recommend that the State Tax Commission approve a 12-year IFT. 12-year is the maximum allowed by state law. Contractually commit the applicant to certain development goals. This is a timeline, a certain number of new jobs, just to make sure that we are holding them accountable to the tax exemption they're seeking. And lastly, it has a clawback provision similar to those used by other tax abatements the city of South Haven has approved. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but otherwise I do know we have some representatives from Spencer Manufacturing here this evening who may want to share some of their exciting news.
They snuck out.
Oh,
They're going to come back. I will just say again, kudos to kind of the team for as we go out and talk to these businesses, because there have been times we've gone out and they've said, guess what? And they spring their plans on us, and we're like, hey, you should consider, there are programs available to help you, fund part of this. So again, to staff for being proactive, and, these businesses are trying to grow, and we're, giving them the tools to help incentivize that, so that's a good thing, so. Yeah,
Thank you, Mayor.
Spencer's, yeah.
That's really helpful. I know that Spencer's alone is looking at 38,000 square foot addition, so that's very exciting for this community.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, they build fire trucks, they paint fire trucks, they do some pretty amazing things out there. These are real good, good paying jobs with benefits, so good stuff, expansion, family business started from a garage, so up to what it is now, so very exciting. We'll have that at our next meeting. Any other questions for staff? All right, we've got a motion second to schedule that public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is scheduled. Next, City Council will be asked to receive an update from our fantastic police chief, Ms. Natalie Thompson. As you're coming up, good job on 4th of July.
Yes.
Sorry, 3rd of July. Fireworks, show, all of it, amazing. So,
We got lots of compliments.
Thank you. I wanted to start with that. So, at least from my assessment, it went very well. In the
It
many
did.
years I've done it. Received some negative feedback on some minor issues, but from my experience, it went very well. Traffic cleared out quicker than last year. There was a lot of planning. Again, our police department couldn't do it without assistance. DPW probably worked harder than anybody, the street department. Michigan State Police, Pokagon, Van Buren County Sheriff's Department, Covert Township Police Department. We were substantially short on officers this year for the first time. It's the story of law enforcement. Everyone is struggling to find officers. So normally I have around 110 officers since 2016, and this year we were about 30 officers short, but I think everyone did a really good job. I just summarized, of course, for the day, we really prioritize. We are not doing proactive traffic work. We are not looking to arrest people. We have to stay available for a significant incident. And just so everyone knows, when we make an arrest, that officer is going to be out of the loop for 2 or 3 hours. So basically, we try and keep a lid on it. That's what my department does all summer. But for the day, we did have one OWI boating arrest, which was actually a pretty dangerous situation. We were able to get this person stopped on the water. We had an indecent exposure, someone behaving very poorly on North Beach. It was actually my arrest. It was the first arrest of the day. I witnessed it, so he went to jail. We had 3 accidents during the day. 2 more drunk driving arrests. We had a malicious destruction of property, a breaking and entering, and a felonious assault. So basically the good news out of that, even with the felonious assault, no one was seriously injured. One of the traffic stops midday, and sometimes it's hard to say, the good job that we did, because a lot of the preventative things that we do, we maybe prevent bad things from happening. So, but we had a traffic stop midday, 2 individuals on their way to South Beach, and it was 2 not so great guys from Kalamazoo, and they had 2 stolen guns in the vehicle that were loaded, and they were on their way to our South Beach. So they both were arrested, both guns were recovered. So a lot of really good proactive work was done that day, but like I said, it's a very, very much a group effort and really a citywide effort. And above law enforcement, our Department of Public Works guys work very hard. They work for days and days ahead of time with all the extra preparation. So we're really happy for how that went. Next, I've got some statistics, and these are from January 1st through June 30th. So our top 5, these are criminal offenses, driving violations. We've been really amping up our traffic enforcement, followed by obstructing justice. Those are any type of warrant arrest, followed by assaults, larceny, and retail fraud. Next are person crimes. Of course, assault is number 1. And then out of our assaults, besides differentiating domestic, we've got, in this pie chart, we've got sexual assault. So out of our total assaults, 67 assault and batteries, 5 of those were sexual assaults. Property crimes, motor vehicle crime, retail fraud remain our top 2. And you can see from the chart, the rest kind of follow suit for how the previous part of the year went. Our arrests are up to 322, so we're getting close to our total last year, which was 441. Our citations right now are 1,269. Last year, we had a total of 1,685, so we'll probably surpass that. I still have complaints that our enforcement isn't adequate, and I would argue that the officers are doing a very good job on enforcement. Foot patrol hours, and as you can see, there's always a correlation when we are doing that much in citations and traffic. You know, the foot patrol naturally may go down a little bit. So we are 159 hours of foot patrol, which is still good. Last year we had a total of 400. Property checks is 560. Our total calls for service this year, we're about halfway through the year, 1,680 for the total. That's 1,174 for the city and 506 for the township. Our total number of complaints, these are incidents that the officers do a report on. We're at 1,005. And then citations, we've got the breakdown, and I know in particular golf cart enforcement is an issue. And quite frankly, my officers are spending a lot of time on golf carts. A lot of time where, you know, in my opinion, we've got a lot of other serious crimes I think they could be spending time on. But, so as of June 30th, we've written 27, but I did a tally today, because I know in July we've written a lot of them. So just for the month of July, the officers have written, I think, 12 more. So our total is 39 golf cart citations since that came in effect on March 15th. So the officers have been doing a very good job in between some of the more serious complaints. I wanted to give a big shout out yesterday to our police department. Sergeant Griffith had two officers working. It was a really bad red flag day on the beach. The beach safety people needed a hand. So at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my 2 on-duty officers went down to the beaches. And Sergeant Griffith got down there, and there were hundreds of people in the water with red flags. Talked to the beach safety individual. She was very frustrated. She said, I've warned, I've asked people. So they got a PA recording. They said, red flags, get out of the water, $1,000 fine. They went up and down the shoreline on the mule, announcing it. Now we've got police officers. And so very adequate warnings were given. And so then Sergeant Griffith recommended, we need to start writing some tickets. So I called in 2 more officers in on overtime yesterday. And so we wrote 9 tickets yesterday. And, it got some people's attention. But my point is that I think the beach safety people did a really good job on trying to educate and warn. The officers were trying to educate and warn. But once in a while, a ticket is what makes people comply. Because as they were driving down the beach, announcing people would get out of the water, they get to one end of the beach and people were getting right back in. So it was a pretty treacherous day yesterday. I know Kate sent sent me an email that up in Ottawa County, I think over 8 people had to be rescued Sunday afternoon. So, you know, there was good teamwork yesterday, and, you know, some people may think it's unfortunate that we have to write citations, but it got people out of the water yesterday. So we were pretty happy there were no water rescues in South Haven yesterday.
I agree.
So that's all I have.
Any questions?
Good job.
Yeah, I will just say it was funny, though, as you sit down there and watch the officers the night of the fireworks, and there were a couple times when there were several of them down and just walking amongst the traffic. I know I caught one instance where one, like, looked in and said, seatbelts, and everyone in the car was like, whoops, and all of a sudden, and like the officer on the other side, it is the law, and they were just having, they weren't being mean, they just was like looking in, and they were very polite. They did a nice job, so,
It was a long day.
thank you. It
Thank
was.
you.
Thanks, appreciate it. All right. Next, public comment. All right, citizens of the audience will be heard on items that are not on the agenda. So for this one, you'll have up to 5 minutes. If you'd like to come on up, state your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes. Oh, whoever, I guess I got to first come. Come on up. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Jacob with the Van Buren Conservation District. I'm here to give you a quick update. So I'd like to remind you that the South Haven Recycle Roundup is happening August 5th at the Department of Public Works from 9 to 2. There we're taking household hazardous waste, electronics, styrofoam, oil-based paint. We used to take latex, but latex can be thrown away in your regular garbage bin. And then tires, of course. Also, we have a MEEP field day happening August 17th in Bangor. That's to educate farmers, connect them with resources, and support our kind of agricultural side of our economy. Like Commissioner Patterson-Gladney said, we'll be at the Flywheelers Museum July 26th for our annual meeting. It's a lot of fun. We have a pig roast. We have a lot of food, and there's an optional museum tour at 4:30. It's their, I think, 40th anniversary, so they do a lot of really cool stuff out there if you aren't familiar. And then August 2nd, we'll be in Ross Coastal Plain Marsh, so that's a little south of here. It's a huge preserve. It's very pretty. So we have a naturalist come out, and the public is free to come out, and we just walk around the preserve, talk about everything out there from trees, birds, bees, everything. So do you have any questions for me in the meantime?
Any questions? Any questions? So in the future, if you want to get with Kate, we can get you at the beginning of the agenda too, just so you know. We're happy to do that for you, so.
Yeah, sure thing.
Gail can tell you the secret too.
Yeah, I took over for a coworker last minute, so.
Okay, well, anytime, just so they know.
No,
We're happy
I
to-
appreciate it.
We
Thank you very
appreciate the
much.
updates, and we'll share that information, so thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Is there anything else? I don't see, Johnny, come on up. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just come on up, name and address, and
My name's Johnny Canoni, and under advice of council, I'm not going to give my address. I am a citizen of these United States. I just have a couple questions for the gentleman, Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
My Italian buddies tell me you're more a man of consequence in New Jersey. I don't know what that meant, but they told me you sold a company for 30 to 50 million bucks.
No,
That's not true.
I said I did sales in excess of 30 million.
Oh, all right.
Big difference.
What part of New
Wish I
Jersey
did
were you
sell
operating
30
in?
million.
What part of New Jersey were you operating in? I tried to get a bio on you
I
on
was
the computer,
operating in Michigan.
but not New Jersey.
Pardon me?
yeah, I was, about to go. If, I'm not going to allow kind of politicking, we can't have discussions about.
I'm not politicking, I just want some background on it. I can't find anything on the internet.
After the meeting, I'll give you all the information you want.
Okay, because he's running for mayor, that's right?
Yes.
And I know the other two people, or there are three people besides him.
Yep, there's two others, yeah.
There's two others, right?
Yep, there'll be some forums, and like you said, you
Okay,
get with
are
you after
they
the
coming
meeting.
up?
What's that?
The forums, you said they're coming up?
They'll be coming. I don't know when they are, but they will be coming.
Okay, well, I don't want to extend the meeting, thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, yep, come on up. Name and address.
Not that Chief Thompson needs this, but my wife and I
Yeah,
have.
just name and
Oh, I'm
address.
sorry, Rick
You're good.
Catherman, 455 Jones, here in South Haven. Actually lived here in the late 90s, moved back here in 2020. My wife and I walked yesterday, sat on the bluff. The persistence of our folks that are monitoring the beach is so much appreciated. I know that can't be an easy job. To have officers have to come in, write citations is unfortunate because folks can't check the red flags and just stay out of the water. But as a citizen, so proud of the fact that we do keep people safe here on our beaches. We don't know how many lives were possibly saved yesterday, but I want to commend Chief Thompson, the entire public safety, and our workers that are on those vehicles down there. Just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, appreciate your comments. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Oh, we almost lost it. Good evening.
Good evening, Mary Hasley, 726 North Shore Drive. I would also like to thank Chief Thompson for everything that she and her team does. It's excellent. We're so blessed to have them protecting our community. At last week's Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting, we heard of grant opportunities, which is very exciting. Several different parcels were identified as potential beneficiaries. I would encourage the City Council to have staff focus on only the Overton property. That's the only city-owned property that was mentioned of the group. If there's any hope of putting workforce housing by building missing middle structures, we need to know exactly what's on that property, that contaminated brownfield, and what levels are they at the surface and deep below. In fact, in the February 2023 MISHDA, Michigan Housing Authority, rejection letter to Habitat's 9% LIHTC, low-income housing tax credit application in October 2022, that rejection letter even said that analysis should be done at shallow and deep levels. From the current analysis, depth was shallow, and the draft report indicates more work will be needed. The city should focus only on the Overton property to get that contaminated brownfield site evaluated and remediated if feasible for housing. Otherwise, we need to change gears. Separately, I emailed City Council in June about issues with regard to STRs, and Mayor Smith, thank you very much for requesting the city manager to formulate answers. I was wondering when I might expect those formulated answers. Several of us are waiting. Along those same lines, we were just wondering what is the next step for STR reform. We had that workshop number 2, and we were wondering what should we expect by when. For the city council meetings, I was wondering what is the status of a new screen for the city council chambers. I had suggested a no expense option of moving the staff tables from the one side of the room to the other so that residents would have a better position to watch the slides when they're presented. The city manager declined that suggestion and said that she would consider a screen for the other side of the room because the best seats are opposite the screen, and those are currently reserved for staff, and it's not very welcoming for residents. I was wondering what the status is of getting another screen and what the cost of that will be. If the screen will not be installed soon, I would request that reconsideration be given to moving the tables to the same side of the room as the screen. Last but not least, and Mayor Smith, I hope you appreciate this, I would encourage Safe Kids to add the dunk tank. We know you want to support our community. I know the city manager has authority to change applications and special permits after they've been approved, so
Hey, if
especially
Pam
if the
brings it,
weather's
I'll do
warm. So thank you very much for your time.
You got it. Thanks for your comments. Kate, any thoughts? I know we're working on some answers. Forthcoming, I know.
Yes, we're working on some answers. I just, time just got away from us last week, so we've got some things to get out the door this week.
And staffs, I know we're kind of working on, getting, I would like to think in the next, 4 to 6 weeks or so, we're going to be back and bring some ideas back on short-term rentals and have.
Yeah, so we've
bring
been
it
having
and
conversations
go.
with many council members and really just trying to figure out where is the difference and where they're all at. And of course, we've had some information they have requested, so we're trying to follow up on that. So we're trying to get council some options here in the next couple weeks, depending on the information that they have requested, so that we can sit down and just make sure that we're heading in the right direction so that we can begin drafting.
Okay, good. Yeah, 'cause I think we're all ready to get it done too. Okay, next.
Bill Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street.
Evening, Bishop.
Good evening. I just got a couple of comments and I think 2 questions. The first question was one that was asked by a lot of the residents, especially during this campaign time, and it may apply to Griffin, something that Griffin said. A lot of residents want to know, especially on the south side of Ward 1, is the missing middle defined as the new workforce housing, and if so, how would that compare in prices to affordable housing? If you can get an answer to that, or even if you know the answer. I'm not sure if you know the answer, but that is what's being asked by a lot of residents, because now it's going from affordable housing to workforce housing, and I heard you mention missing middle. So
Yeah.
they want to know price-wise where we're talking about.
It's going to depend. It's based on the AMI, and of course what is what they're making. So I know we had a very nice workshop with Ryan Kilpatrick. I'm happy to share that. I know it's on our website, but I'm happy to look at that with you. But I don't have that in front of me right now. But again, it all depends on what the person makes.
Okay, I'm asking that question for a
No,
lot of
that's
residents.
fair.
Okay. And again, I think Councilman Reeser brought it up with the market economic development team that was in here. Like Councilman Reeser, I was thinking about the lack of housing and wondering how the lack of housing wasn't a roadblock or a challenge to them for business retention and expansion. It just seemed like that would have been one of the needs mentioned to them by local businesses. Because to meet that first on that bullet, on that presentation, business retention and expansion, I would think that would be a little challenging if we're lacking at least 1,000 houses on the market and not being able to find affordable housing if you can't get workers here. I think that would be a roadblock. So I was kind of surprised that that wasn't one of the needs mentioned by local businesses. This is to Chief Thompson. While leaving out of Saugatuck, I noticed that on the other day, I noticed that Saugatuck had a speed radar attached to a pole, a permanent speed radar attached to a pole. And I was wondering how hard that would be, how hard would it be to have one placed on Indiana Street. We have a temporary one, but I was wondering if we could actually place a permanent one to a sign, a city sign, if you know what I'm talking about.
I haven't seen the one, but it would be something I'd have to
Yeah, it's
talk
like
about.
on a pole, and then it's attached to a pole, a city pole.
I have
It's
to
a
check it out
permanent-
with Public Works. They're the ones who install those, not the police department, but I can check it out.
Yeah, and the only reason I brought Chief in is because I know she's been asked questions about speeding up and down Indiana. And I know that they're doing a great job of trying to slow it down, but it seemed like versus just having a temporary one that's out there for a couple of weeks, then you could place one on a permanent sign. Might help. Over the weekend, I was invited to a birthday celebration in Saugatuck, got a chance to walk around the city, great city, especially at night. I want to just give a shout out to our local businesses, the owners and workers, the staff, for keeping our local business as far as appearances up. I think the businesses, the appearance of the businesses speak volume of our city. It represents our city well, so kudos to our local businesses and the owners. Again, I want to encourage our residents to get fully engaged and get ready for this upcoming election and understand the issues that's before us. I think we're at a crossroad. This is one of the most important elections that I can remember in my lifetime of voting age for me. So I think it's very important that the residents understand the issues, understand the candidates and what they stand for, and understand what's really at stake in this election. And so I want to, again, just encourage them to get involved, get off the sideline, and help make this city a great place. And I know we're able to do that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night. Anybody else? Going twice? Nope. Sold. All right. Let's go to city manager comments. It's Kate.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to echo the comments made by Chief Thompson about the beach safety program. When I noticed that the conditions were really getting windy, I connected with beach safety personnel, and they went and changed the flags. And I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle, but I was really happy to see the work combined, the collaboration between the beach safety and the police officers. And unfortunately, sometimes tickets do have to be written. I do know there's lots of education, lots of warnings given that on Sunday, but I am very thankful that we took a very aggressive tactic with clearing the beaches and making those red flags and getting people out of the water. I did find an article with MLive that I shared with council members today that 8 people had to be rescued out of Park Township, which is just next to Holland. So happily, and no drownings there, but again, we didn't have to have any rescuers because we took aggressive enforcement action. So kudos to beach safety staff, kudos to the police department for their efforts. I also want to really thank Phil Poole and the IT department. Over the weekend, if you hadn't heard, we did lose our telecom fiber optic, so our phone lines were down, and then for a period of time today, our phone lines were back down. So our fiber optic line had been nicked, and that took out our telephone. So we are working on getting that permanently patched, but maybe looking at a redundancy so that this doesn't continue to happen. So thank you to Phil for his work on Sunday and, of course, today to get those up and running. So those are my comments.
Very good. Thank you much. Any questions for Kate? Nothing.
And I guess one last thing, kudos to Griffin and Jim Hettinger for all the work on doing the economic development update. I know this is a highlight for council as this is one of our priorities.
Agreed. Thank you. All right, city council comments. On my left. Almost.
I know that was a trick.
Your way.
I don't have
Ms.
a
Letitia.
comment. I don't have a comment.
How's summer vacation going? Are you doing summer school? Are you? Oh, you are. You're doing, what are you
I'm doing summer enrichment,
Summer enrichment. Very good.
yes, enriching the
You're
student.
enriching lives.
Yes,
Oh, very good.
teaching sewing, and basic photography using
Oh, cool.
iPhones.
Nice.
It's been fun
Very exciting. Maybe you can show me how to use mine later, so appreciate that.
for a small fee.
For a small fee? Very good. I'll talk to you later after the meeting.
Not a
Very good. Thank you very much. Steve?
Just enjoy the city communications with the text that you can sign up for to get the text notifications on what's going on. I appreciate that. And also remind people to vote in the August primary that's coming up very soon.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. Good point on the text. I do, I've been out of town and I've said to children, oh, looks like the power's out on Jones Street. And they're like, what? And they think I get that because I'm the mayor. I'm like, no, I don't get that because I'm the mayor. I get that because I'm a citizen in my city. And they're like, that's pretty cool. So that is a nice feature. So if you don't have it, we can get you.
No comments for me.
Very good.
Just a quick thank you to this community that has a theater series, how many different performances we've had and more coming. I've been to 2 of them, and they're excellent. And the one I went to, Julia Child, over the weekend, had to have at least 300 people there. So it's nice to see people enjoying the theater. Thanks.
Very good. All right, couple quick. So yes, Griffin, Kate, both economic development. I appreciate all that we do. Again, I can't say enough. Our businesses are doing well, and that makes me happy that we continue to keep that as a top priority. I had a nice message from Pastor Smulligan about the worship on the Riverwalk, saying just thanking council staff for their cooperation. They've had 300 people or so each night for the last 2. We're going to have another one coming up, so just very appreciative for the faith community, for the citizens that are coming out, and just everybody involved for making it happen. So they were very positive there. We've got, well, one, I know just, if you could, I've asked just to maybe, I've talked to several in council here about the concept of, as we talk about infrastructure, and just to share with us a little more on what it would take to make we've done a 20-year-old millage, we did a 5, we did a 20. For those of you who weren't here before that, when I first got on council, we didn't have a road plan, and so that was our first task. We did a 5, we did well, and then we kind of came back and said, what's it going to take to get them all done? We kind of blissfully thought 20, and the reality is we know it's going to kind of be forever. So infrastructure, we're going to need a road millage for now and forevermore, and so to work with Bill and to talk about a permanent road millage, and what does that mean? I mean, we can keep asking, but part of the reality for us is, as we talk about grants and whatnot, you look at Center Street and our ability to get grant funding, part of that's because we had shovel-ready projects. We have our own engineering crew, so what's it look like to make our millage permanent? So we don't have to continue to go back and ask, because we know we're gonna have to always, for now and forevermore, unless we go to gravel roads, which I don't think our citizens would like, we're gonna have to have a road millage. So what does that look like? So if we could bring that back to us and talk to about, I know it's a process in time, but I don't.
I can
it's-
do that. Mhm.
It's, for me as a citizen, I just know that I have an expectation regarding the roads, and it's not unlike other infrastructure, and so there's really no need to keep asking if we know it's gonna require a base amount of money. So there's that. And then we're hoping, if all goes well, we will pull off another picnic in the park for those of you that were able to come. Was it pre-COVID? Has it been that long ago?
It has been pre-COVID.
What was it, Gail, that said something about something happy about ARPA money? I was like, well, that's not happy. I don't think of ARPA. But anyway, but yeah, that hopefully we'll be able to pull that off here maybe in August, September,
hoping,
or
the
maybe
two-
September.
September, the first meeting in September, which would be a Tuesday. We're hoping to have a meeting in the park. It would be Stanley Johnson at this time.
Yep, we're gonna
And
shift it, yep.
we're going to be doing our logistics to get everything ready and set up there.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. It was nice to get everybody out. We had some healthy food and had a meeting, which was fun. So keep your eyes and ears posted for that. And get out to the primary. And other than that, I'm not going to adjourn us because we are going to end this meeting. We're going to go into closed session, and then we'll officially close the meeting after that. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask council to consider a motion to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268H to discuss a confidential attorney-client memorandum.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Motion second, and we need a roll call.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Schlock,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. All right. We'll take 5. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and we'll come back and adjourn this after we get out of this. Take 5. Are we meeting back?